Good morning, students. Today we will continue chapter number 5, that is heat. And today we are going to discuss some important topic, that is dew point and humidity. Then unit of heat, specific heat capacity, heat exchange, measurement of specific heat. In measurement of specific heat, we will study mixing method and calorimeter. Okay. So one by one we have to start. So first of all, today we are going to discuss dew point and humidity. Okay. We all know that about 71% surface of earth is covered with water. Due to constant evaporation of water vapor is always present in the atmosphere, right? The amount of water vapor in the atmosphere helps us to understand the state of daily weather. The presence of water vapor in the air makes it moist. The moisture in the atmosphere is called humidity. So what is humidity? So humidity is the moisture in the atmosphere is called humidity. Okay. Students, one thing I want to tell you, explaining before explaining this, always remember, air have a capacity to hold water vapor at any given temperature. Okay. So with the help of example, I want to explain you this all. So if I say this is a container. This container, say in this container there is 1 kilogram air, right? And this air is at, say this air is at 40 degree Celsius. In this container there is how much water? How much air? So there is 1 kg air at, always remember, this is at 40 degree. I have taken here 40 degrees Celsius. So this air have capacity to hold water vapor. So what is the capacity at 40 degrees Celsius? So this air will hold maximum 49 gram. How much? 49 gram water vapor. So at 1 kilogram air at 45 degree, the capacity of 1 kilogram air which is at 45 degrees Celsius, which is 40 degrees Celsius, they can hold maximum 49 gram water vapor, right? So if there is two concepts, on the basis of, I will explain two concepts. First is what is saturated. What is saturated air with water vapor, and second is what is unsaturated air with water vapor. So if the capacity of this 1 kilogram air is how much? 40 gram. If there is, say there is 40 gram, there is 40 gram water vapor. The capacity of this 1 kilogram air is how much? 49 gram. But in this air, there is how much water vapor is present? Say 40 gram. So this air is unsaturated air with water vapor, because there is the capacity of this air is 49 gram, but here is only 40 gram water vapor. So this air will called unsaturated air with water vapor, right? If there is 49 gram water vapor and the capacity of this 1 kilogram air at 45 degrees Celsius is to hold 49 gram, and if there is 49 gram water vapor, in that case this air will called saturated air, right? One question I want to ask you, if in this 1 kilogram air, if it exceeds from 49 gram, say there is 51, there is how much? 51 gram water vapor, then this 51 gram is more than 49 gram. So how much more than from this 49 gram? There is 2 gram is more. So this 2 gram, since 2 gram is its capacity is to hold 49 gram only, but here is 51 gram. So how much extra? 2 gram. 2 gram is extra. So this 2 gram will convert into water droplets, right? So this 2 gram will convert into water droplets. Always remember, okay? And one more thing, if you at higher temperature, the air have more capacity to hold water vapor. And if you decrease the temperature, for example, say the same example, suppose this is container, here is 1 kilogram air, and now this, here is how much air? 1 kilogram air, and now this is at, say this is at 20 degrees Celsius. How much? On which temperature? This air is now at 20 degrees Celsius. So in this case, this 1 kilogram air can hold or can contain only 14.7 gram water vapor. So as you can see here, as 40 degrees Celsius, at 40 degrees Celsius they can contain 49 gram water vapor. But if you decreased the temperature, the 1 kilogram air can contain only 14.7 gram. So if you decrease the temperature, the capacity of the air to contain water vapor will decrease. Now I will explain. Okay. One more thing. One is relative humidity. First of all, remove this one. First of all, read only relative humidity. So what is relative humidity? So, then you can define relative humidity is the ratio. It is a ratio from actual mass of water vapor contained in the air in a given volume. So in a given volume, at a given temperature, how much water vapor is present in the air. 2. Mass of vapor needed to make the air saturated in that volume. Then how much mass of vapor needed to make the air saturated in that volume. Okay, again I will explain this on the basis of this example. Here I have told you this 1 kilogram air have capacity to hold 49 gram water vapor. Suppose here is 47 gram. How much? Here is 47 47, here is 47 gram water vapor is present. So how much water vapor is needed to make air saturated with water vapor? So here needed 2 gram, 47, 48, 49. So in same thing is here written. Mass of vapor needed to make the air saturated in that volume. So in the example here will be 2. In this example, from this example here will be 2, right? So if we talk percentage relative humidity, then you have to multiply by 100. You have to multiply by 100. If we talk only relative humidity, then your answer will be, it is a ratio from actual mass of water vapor contained in the air in a given volume to mass of vapor to make the air saturated in that volume. And if I ask what is percentage relative humidity, then you have to multiply by 100, right? Okay. So I will read. So whatever I have explained here, same thing is written here. So I repeat, for a given volume of air at a specific temperature, there is a limit on how much water vapor the air can contain, right? If the amount exceeds this limit, the excess vapor converts into water droplets, right? When the air contains maximum possible water vapor, maximum water vapor. So I have taken the example maximum they can contain maximum 49 gram of water vapor. So if when the air contains maximum possible water vapor, it is said to be saturated with vapor at that temperature, right? The amount of vapor needed to saturate the air depends on temperature of air. Okay? If air temperature is low, it will need less vapor to saturate the air. For example, if temperature of air is 40 degrees Celsius, it can contain only 49 grams of water vapor per kilogram of dry air without condensation. Okay, without condensation means what? Means condensation is the process in which water vapor can convert into water droplets or water. Okay, if the amount of vapor exceeds this limit, the additional vapor will condense. However, if the temperature of air is 20 degrees Celsius, it can contain only 14.7 gram of water vapor per kilogram of dry air without condensing, right? If the vapor contained in air is less than the maximum limit, then the air is said to be unsaturated. I have already explained from this example. Okay? One important concept is here, dew point temperature. What is dew point temperature? So again, I will explain with the help of example. I will take one example. So say, first of all read, then I will explain with the help of example. What I am explaining, what is dew point temperature. Suppose unsaturated air at a certain temperature is taken. Which type of air we have taken? We have taken unsaturated air at a certain temperature is taken, and its temperature is decreased. Suppose we have taken some air at certain temperature. Say we have taken this air at how much? At say this we have taken air 1 kilogram air at 20 degrees Celsius. 20 degree Celsius. So same thing written. Suppose unsaturated air at a certain temperature is taken and its temperature is decreased, and now we are going to decrease the temperature. Maybe say this is 19, 18, 17, 16. We are going to decrease the temperature. A temperature is reached. One temperature will reach. This is at, we have taken the air at certain temperature, that is here is we have taken at 20 degrees Celsius, and if we decrease the temperature, this is unsaturated air with water vapor, and if we decrease the temperature, one temperature will come after some time. Say now this temperature became 16 degrees Celsius. How much? 16 degrees Celsius. At 16 degrees Celsius, this air will be saturated with water vapor. So this 16 degree Celsius is called dew point temperature, right? So I repeat again. Suppose unsaturated air at a certain temperature is taken. Unsaturated air we have taken here, that is here I have taken on 20 degrees Celsius is taken, and its temperature is decreased. Temperature is decreased from 20 degree to 16 degrees Celsius. A temperature is reached. A temperature is reached, that is here is 16 degrees Celsius, at which air becomes saturated. Air becomes saturated with vapor. This temperature is called dew point temperature. So always remember, if you decrease the temperature, if there is unsaturated air, and if you are going to decrease the temperature, then after some time, one temperature will come. One temperature will come. On that temperature, that air will be saturated. So that temperature is called dew point temperature. I hope you have understood. The vapor content in the air is measured using a physical quantity called absolute humidity. So always remember, MC questions may come the vapor content in the air is measured using a physical quantity is called, your answer should be absolute humidity. The mass of vapor present in unit volume of air is called absolute humidity. Generally, absolute humidity is measured in kilogram per meter cube. Remember, if questions come, we measure absolute humidity in so your answer should be measure absolute humidity in kilogram per meter cube. Okay. The feeling of humid or dry nature of air not only depends on amount of vapor in the air. Always remember, humid or dry nature depends on two factors. First factor is how much water vapor is present in the air, and second one is the second factor is temperature. If temperature is more, we feel dry, and if temperature is less, then we feel moisture. The more moisture will be there if temperature will be less. Okay, this I have already explained. So the relative humidity at dew point is 100 degrees Celsius. Dew point means the temperature at which air becomes saturated. That is called dew point temperature. So at that point, relative humidity is at 100 degrees Celsius, 100%. If relative humidity is more than 60, we feel the air is humid, right? And if the relative humidity is less than 60, we feel that air is dry. Understood? This you have to do whatever I have explained you on same concept. This is given here, and try this. You can, the answer of try this is written here. Okay, so you did this. Now your next topic is unit of heat. The units of heat are joule in SI system. The unit of heat is joule in SI unit, right? And calorie in CGS unit. CGS means what? CGS means centimeter, gram and second. We measure length in centimeter, mass in gram and time in second. In SI system, we measure length in meter, mass in kilogram and time in second. The amount of heat necessary to rise temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius is called 1 calorie heat. If questions come what is 1 calorie heat, then you will write, what you will write? You will write the amount of heat necessary to rise temperature of 1 gram of water. Listen, 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius, by 1 degree Celsius, to rise temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius from the range is important, 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius is called 1 calorie heat. Okay, and if you want to define 1 kilocalorie heat, then you have to take here 1 kilogram of water, right? The range of temperature will be same. Okay, and we always know that 1 kilocalorie, kilo means 1 kilo means 1000, 1 kilocalorie means 1000 calorie. So why we have taken this interval only, 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius? That is written here. Okay, so you read this. This sentence is omitted. If you want to read, you can read. And one more thing you have to learn. This is important. 1 calorie is equal to 4.8 joule. In MCQ, questions may comes 1 calorie is equal to how much? 4 option will be given. 1 calorie is equal to 3 joule. Or second option may be 2.5 joule. Third option may be 4.18 joule. So that option will be correct, right? So 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joule, right? Your next topic is a specific heat capacity. So try this. This you have to study on the. This is important also because in the paper, on the basis of this activity, questions may come. So here, this is the wax layer. This is the wax layer. Here we have taken three ball. One ball is made up of iron. Second one is made up of copper. Second one is made up of lead. So initially, and read this one. Take 3 spheres of iron, copper and lead of equal masses. Mass is also equal. Put all the 3 spheres in boiling water in the beaker for some time. If you put in boiling water for some time, its temperature will reach at boiling point of water, that is 100 degrees Celsius, 100 degrees Celsius, 100 degrees Celsius. Same temperature. I mean to say, they came at same temperature. Temperature will also same. Mass is also same and temperature is also same. That will be 100 degrees Celsius. Take the 3 spheres out of the water. All the sphere will be at temperature 100 degrees Celsius, right? Put them immediately on the thick slab of wax. Immediately you have to put on the wax. And note the depth that each of sphere goes into the wax. So you can see here, mass of the object or mass of the ball is same. Say this is 20 gram, 20 gram, 20 gram. So mass is same and they are at same temperature. And after inserting in the boiling water, 100 degrees Celsius, 100 degrees Celsius, 100 degrees Celsius. Mass is same, temperature also same. But you can see depth is different into the wax layer. Iron, this is deeper than these two. The reason, then at the second position is copper and third one is the lead. Here what happened? You can see that iron have more heat capacity. Iron have more capacity to absorb heat, right? Since they have absorbed maximum heat from these two, so they have maximum heat energy. So that's why they went deeper with respect to these two, right? So a specific heat depends on the matter. Different matter or different substance have different specific heat capacity, right? So this means that property which determines the amount of heat absorbed by the sphere is different for the, I read again. This means that the property at which determines the amount of heat absorbed by sphere is different for the 3D sphere. This property called a specific heat capacity. Okay, and the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of unit mass of an object by 1 degree Celsius is called a specific heat of that object. I repeat, the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature, to rise the temperature of a unit mass of an object by 1 degree Celsius is called a specific heat of that object, right? So with the help of example, I will explain this line. Suppose you have taken unit mass. Unit mass means maybe 1 gram, 1 kilogram. Okay, so whenever you will take unit mass and you are supplying heat to this unit mass, right? Suppose initially this is at 70 degrees Celsius. This is at 70 degrees Celsius. You are supplying the heat, and if its temperature became, this became 71 degrees Celsius. How much? The temperature of this object became 70 degrees Celsius to 71 degrees Celsius. How much temperature is increased in this object? You can say 71 minus 70, that is 1 degree Celsius will increase. Then amount of, now read, the amount of heat energy required to rise the temperature of a unit mass of an object by 1 degree Celsius. Unit mass we have taken here. So B are supplying the heat. So the amount, definitely they will absorb some heat. So amount of heat energy required to rise the temperature of a unit mass of an object by 1 degree Celsius is called specific heat of that object. So how much heat energy is required to increase the temperature from 70 degrees Celsius to 71 degrees Celsius? So that heat energy, that amount of heat energy is called a specific heat of that object. Some substances is given here. Okay, so you have to learn only, listen, the specific heat capacity is denoted by C. A specific heat be denoted the letter C. The SI unit of a specific heat is joule per degree Celsius. The SI unit of a specific heat is joule per degree Celsius. Joule per degree Celsius, kilogram. Understood? And CGS unit is calorie per gram degree Celsius, right? Generally, in the numericals, we prefer this one. We take mass in gram, so we prefer this one. So listen, for water, a specific heat in calorie per gram degree Celsius is 1. Only remember this one. No need to remember this, because in the questions that will be given, this may be not given. For water, a specific heat will not given or may be given, but in case of dissolved substances, a specific heat capacity will be given in the questions. Okay, if numericals comes on the basis of this. If a specific heat of an object is C, a specific heat, we know that it be represent a specific heat with the letter C. So if a specific heat of an object is C, the mass of the object is M, and if temperature of the object raised by delta T degree Celsius, the heat energy absorbed by the object is given by heat, say Q. Heat is absorbed by that object will be equal to M into C into delta T, right? Similarly, in the same way, if a specific heat of an object is C and the mass of the object is M, and if the temperature of the object is decreased by delta T degree Celsius, here is decreased, here is it, object is raised, okay, or raised by delta T degree Celsius, then the heat energy lost by the object will be Q is equal to MC delta T, right? Okay, I will explain with the help of example. Suppose this is an object having mass M and its specific capacity is, say, C. Initially, they are at 10 degrees Celsius. Initially, T1, say T1 is equal to say 10 degrees Celsius. You supplied here heat with the help of burner, and its temperature increases from now this is its temperature increased from 10 degree to 25 degrees Celsius. After giving heat, its temperature raised from 10 degrees Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius. So here change in temperature is equal to how much? Change in temperature, that is delta T. Here delta T is equal to 25 minus 10, that will be equal to 15 degrees Celsius. So it will after giving heat, it will absorb heat. So how much heat will absorb in this example? So you can say Q, heat will absorb from this object is equal to mass of the object M into a specific heat, that is C, into delta T. Here delta T. Here delta T will put here 15 degrees Celsius. Understood? So same thing is it. Just reverse is this. If any object is as 25 degrees Celsius and after some time you are not giving the heat here, in second example, in this, for this, initially they are at 25 degrees Celsius, after some time its temperature will decrease and now they came 10 degrees Celsius. So in this example, temperature is decreased. So in this case, how much energy lost by the object? Again, in that case, Q is equal to MC delta T. Again, delta T is equal to how much? Here will be 25 minus 10. Again, here will be 15 degrees Celsius. So here is energy lost. Here is energy absorbed, right? Now only two topic is remaining. One is very small topic. One is heat exchange, and second one is measurement of specific heat. We will use mixing method and we will use calorie here. Okay. So heat exchange. If I ask one question from you, when heat exchange is possible, you will say if there is temperature difference between two objects. If say this is hot object, this is cold object, this will be at higher temperature, this will be at lower temperature. This object is in isolated container. Isolated container means from outside heat cannot enter inside the container, or inner heat will not go out from the container. That is called isolated container. Okay, so heat exchange is only possible if there is temperature difference, right? So say this is for example, say this is at 100 degrees Celsius, 100 degrees Celsius, and say this is at 0 degrees Celsius, 0 degrees Celsius, right? So its temperature will decrease, its temperature will increase. Now after some time, maybe 90 degrees Celsius, if its temperature will decrease, then temperature will increase. Understood? Heat will exchange unless there is a temperature difference. If there is no temperature difference, heat will not exchange, right? So finally they will reach at the same temperature. After some time they will reach at the same temperature. This temperature, hot object temperature and cold object temperature will be same. Okay, so I read here, if heat is exchanged between a hot and cold object, the temperature of cold object goes on increasing due to gain of energy, of course, and temperature of the hot object goes on decreasing due to loss of energy. The change in temperature continues till the temperature of both the object attain the same value, right? In this process, the cold object gains heat energy and the hot object loses heat energy. If system of both the objects is isolated from the environment, isolated from environment means what? Inside heat cannot go outside, and outside heat or cold cannot come inside. That is isolated from environment. By keeping it inside a heat resistant box, meaning that the energy exchange take place between the two objects only, between these two objects only. Then no energy can flow from inside the box or come into the box. This situation we get the following principle. If this is happening, so in this case heat, this is important, this heat energy lost by the hot object, heat energy lost by the hot object is equal to heat energy gained by cold object. This is called principle of heat exchange. Okay, heat energy lost by, obviously hot object will lose energy and cold object will gain energy. Heat energy lost by the hot object is equal to heat energy gained by the cold object. This is called principle of heat exchange, right? Now next topic is measurement of a specific heat. This I will explain with the help of example. You will read, okay? So example is, suppose we have taken a calorimeter, right? So, and there is water, and if we add here an object of mass m, and this object of mass is at 100 degrees Celsius, and suppose this calorimeter, there inside the calorimeter there is water and there is copper. There will be some mass of the copper also, and suppose this is isolated, it means from outside heat cannot enter into the calorimeter, and from inside heat cannot comes out. Okay, so this is isolated. This is calorimeter. For example, for understanding purpose I have taken. So what will happen? Say here is, this is any object of mass m, its specific heat, say this is specific heat C, and it is at 100 degrees Celsius. So what will happen? This is at higher temperature as compared to water and calorimeter. After some time, what will happen? This object will lost energy, and here water and calorimeter, that is made up of copper, that will gain energy. Say water, how much water will gain energy? So say Q1 energy is gained by water. So this Q1 will be equal to mass of the water, or leave it, that is not given. So in this example, what will happen? This mass M will lose the energy, and water energy gained Q1 water, and calorimeter, that is made up of copper, calorimeter will also gain the energy. Suppose this will gain energy Q2. This is calorimeter. So in this case, say this object total loss the energy, say Q. So Q is what? Q is the total energy lost by this object, and heat, we know that from the principle of heat exchange, total heat energy lost is equal to energy gained by the cold object. So this Q will be equal to heat gained by water. Heat gained by water is equal to how much? Q1. So the Q1 plus this calorimeter Q2. So here this mass will lose the energy, and here water and this calorimeter will gain the energy, because after some time water and calorimeter will come at the same temperature. Okay, so if you want to read here, so you can read here. The specific heat of an object can be measured using mixing method, right? For this, calorimeter is used. For mixing method, which instrument we use? We use calorimeter. You have learned about calorimeter in the previous standard. That is made up of copper, and there is isolated. It means from outside heat cannot enter into the calorimeter. In the lab there is calorimeter. I will show you. Okay, if a hot solid object is put in the water in the calorimeter, heat exchange between hot object and the water and the calorimeter start. Heat exchange between hot object and water and calorimeter will start. This continues till the temperature of the solid object. This will continue till the temperature of the solid object, water and the calorimeter become equal, and calorimeter, this is calorimeter, become equal. Therefore, heat lost by the solid object is equal to heat gained by water in calorimeter, heat gained by water in the calorimeter plus heat gained by the calorimeter. Same thing is written here. You can see here. So heat lost by the solid object is equal to mass mass of the solid object, its mass is m, its specific heat will be there, maybe C or C1. Decrease in temperature, heat gained by water is, say this is Q1, heat gained by water, say I said Q1. So mass of the water into specific heat of the water into increase in temperature of the water, increase in the temperature of the water. Of course, the temperature of water will increase. And heat gained by calorimeter, that is say Q2. Mass of the calorimeter, its specific heat, maybe C1, C2, that depends on numericals. Increase in its temperature. Always remember, the temperature of water and calorimeter will be same. So heat lost by the object, is equal to heat gained by calorimeter plus heat gained by water. That is Q is equal to Q2 plus Q1. Using this equation, if specific heat of water and calorimeter are known, the specific heat of the solid object can be calculated, right? So this was all the topic related to heat. Some numericals is here, so I will explain. One example is here. How much heat energy is necessary to rise the temperature of 5 kg of water from 20 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius? Here change in temperature, delta is equal to how much? 20 to 100 is 100 minus 20, that is 80 degrees Celsius. So here given data is M is equal to 5 kg. C, what is C? C the specific heat capacity, right? So for water, specific, since mass is given in kilogram, so that's why here C is equal to, here taken 1 kilocalorie per kilogram degree Celsius, and change in temperature is equal to how much? 100 minus 20, that is 80 degrees Celsius. So simply, how much heat is necessary? Then Q is equal to, we can write here, Q is equal to MC delta T. M is 5, C is 1. If you put here 1, 5 into 1 into delta T is 80, that is 400 kilocalorie. Hence the heat necessary to raise the temperature of water is equal to 4 kilocalorie, right? So you can do practice of numericals. Thank you.